welcome to a brand new episode of The Witching Hour. I am Perri Nemroff. That's Haleigh Fouch. And You know what, Haleigh? I could use a little witching hour to take my mind off of everything else happening right now. Yeah.
I'm excited.
I have a question, though.
What?
What does it say about me that I'm slightly into the idea of watching Contagion right now? Like, am I just trying to, like, ruin my life?
Maybe. I actually tried the other day, but it wasn't streaming anywhere that I have the service. I like it just because it's full of really good advice for how not to get sick.
I thought you were going to tell me that there was just, like, something wrong with me for even wanting to do that. Okay.
I think it's very practical.
I was, like, a little tempted.
I mean,
yeah, this is all
maybe
keeping
like
me awake at night.
Yeah, it'll do that.
Yeah.
Especially because we travel a lot, which is alarming.
You know, I'll give the Chicago McCormick Place Convention Center a lot of credit because, you know, I was in C2E2 last week. There were hand sanitizing stations like every direction you turned in. If you did like a 360, I bet you anything you could probably see at least 3 at a time. I was very impressed by that.
I'm happy to hear that. And, you know, my biggest problem is touching my face, which is a very bad habit. And
I know.
I'm always moving hairs out of my face without thinking about it. And now I need to scratch my nose. But I'm trying to train myself to do that less because I'm like really good at doing the full intense wash your hands. But then you go touch one thing and you touch your face and boom. Contagion.
My hands are like legit. You even wrote moisturizer to me the other day. My hands are legit cracking from how much I've washed them.
Moisturize after every time you wash, and I am doing that, and they're still dry as heck.
Yes, mine are so dry right now, but I guess that's for the better at this point.
Yeah, take dry hands over, whatever.
All right. Yeah. That's probably the smart trade-off
while
there.
Traveling.
Yeah. There's so much traveling.
So much traveling.
So
foolish.
More traveling coming up.
I know.
I don't know.
Foolish. It's fine.
If it happens, we'll see. I hope everyone out there is being safe and mindful about all this, though. Because we all want you guys to be healthy, and we're going to entertain you with lots of horror talk right now.
We talk about horror, but that was just a quick conversation about how we're terrified.
I will say one thing we're talking about later today was so like drilled into my mind last night that I completely forgot about the coronavirus for a little while. But just to give you a little rundown of what we're talking about today, we're going to cover some Invisible Man. Specifically, we're going to talk about how it did at the box office, the resulting deal that Leigh Whannell just lined up for himself, and then we're going to give you a spoiler-filled review of the Netflix series I Am Not Okay With This. That's the rundown. We're saving the spoiler content for the very end of the episode, so don't be worried that spoilers could come up during the episode because it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
All right. You want to jump into Invisible Man stuffs?
Of course I do.
So Invisible Man hit theaters last weekend, and it made a grand total of $28.2 million. That is a nice chunk of change right there, especially because what was the reported production budget on this one? $7 million. Typical, Blumhouse style.
Actually, a little over for them. That's in the higher range. They tend to cap at 5.
Except what was Fantasy Island? Wasn't that closer to like 13 or something? Oops. I think that was really. That's the perfect response to it. I, for one, am very happy to see this movie do that well. Is this what you expected?
Yeah, because it was getting really good word of mouth. People really, this is about the same amount of people that show up every time they try to do a monster movie. And horror hasn't really been hitting it so far this year. So I think horror fans would be excited to finally have one where the reviews were like, yes, it's good, go see it. So I'm not super surprised. I'm super happy to see it, though, because you never know if it's going to go the other way.
I know. I was so thrilled that it made this amount of money. When you say this is the crowd that usually shows up for a monster movie, are you also grouping in things that aren't, straightforward horror?
No, I was talking about like The Wolfman, Dracula Untold, The Mummy, all pulled about 30-ish.
And all 3 of those movies, I believe, had much bigger budgets than this. So it just goes to show, you spend a little and you make even if you don't make an enormous amount, you're still making a profit. And also, I am a firm believer that those smaller budgets and not endless spending is part of what can inspire creativity.
Totally.
And, Leigh Whannell is the example of a director, and Jason Blum is the example of a producer who could make the most of very little. And I, for one, think that should be a lesson to some of the bigger spenders out there.
Absolutely. I was like, for a long time going, please bring back the mid-budget movie. And what they're doing is even more Roger Corman-y. It's a tiny budget movie, but it is very wise. It's good investing. And, I would imagine it, they've talked about it a lot. It takes actors who are willing to take back-end paychecks because they ain't getting anything up front.
So can I tell you something that's related but semi-unrelated? You've opened me up to TikTok.
Oh,
so I've been TikToking, if we can verb it.
Isn't it pleasant?
You know what's weird? My mom's into TikTok too.
Yeah,
she likes watching videos of talking dachshunds.
Who wouldn't?
I don't know.
Who wouldn't?
But I was watching a video the other day, and it was about breaking down wealth via grains of rice. So it shows you what $100,000 of a grain. If $100,000 is worth 1 grain of rice, it shows you what billionaires can have, and how if you take out the amount of money that would take you to buy you a Porsche in rice, that you don't even notice it's gone from the big pile. But I was just thinking about that, and I was thinking of that. Billionaire is a little different than maybe a superstar making a couple million on a movie, but I don't know. I keep thinking about it. In every industry, it's like, do you really need $10 million for one movie?
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, the billionaire thing is worth thinking about.
It really is. But I feel like a simple visualization like that really, and pun intended, ingrained it in my mind even more. So I am like the queen of puns lately.
Nice.
I went to C2E2 and I went to, you'd be proud of me, I went to a booth and I learned so much about cosplay this weekend. And one of the booths that I went to was a manufacturer of sewing machines, but they also do all these different kinds of machines that I can't repeat the terminology for. But I like legit sewed something for the first time and I don't even know how long, but while I was there, I'm like, that process was seamless and I was all proud of myself.
Yes, I love it. More dad puns.
There were probably like eye rolls all around me, but it's okay.
I was having fun. I love it. You will always get a hearty chuckle from me.
All right, so I've got 2 puns. That means you got 2 puns at some point in this episode to catch up to me.
Unlikely. We'll find out.
You're not a punny person?
I'm not on command.
All right. It'll come to you.
They come naturally or they don't come at all.
I feel like the Swallow review has to have some puns in there somewhere.
Mercy.
No?
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Part 2 of our Invisible Man story is this Leigh Whannell thing too. So I'm just going to read, I guess, a little bit from the Collider.com piece that Vinny wrote. Yeah. So he posted the article after Invisible Man's big opening weekend. Leigh Whannell signed an overall deal with Blumhouse for film and television. The 2-year first look deal will reportedly cover projects Whannell will write, direct, and or produce. And then there's a statement from Whannell. Is there anything specific here about monster movies, though? A recent Bloomberg interview with Blumhouse head honcho Jason Blum suggests more Universal monster flicks could be on the horizon, but I don't think this specifically references Whannell.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't read that article. Yeah. I'm busted. I didn't read it. I read a different one. But I'm stoked that they have an overall deal. They obviously have a great collaboration going back to Insidious, and based on the success of this, I think a lot of people are inferring there'll be more monster movies, and why wouldn't there be? Because Universal's been trying to have a win on this for a decade, they just got one.
I just hope they're not going the cinematic universe route, especially if they find creators like Leigh, because I think Leigh's the perfect example of someone we've seen thrive. Not that Invisible Man is original material, because it obviously has source material here, but I think when you detach him from a pre-existing franchise as a director, that's where he finds room to kind of like breathe and grow and really excel and make something his own.
I mean, I don't want to say I doubt it, because people make really silly choices all the time, but it would seem unlikely that something would crash and burn as publicly as the Dark Universe, and then they'd go, let's try that again.
That was a special one.
It was quite something. Just resplendent flames of destruction on a very short-lived idea. So I feel that it's unlikely that they're going to try that when this was a hit. I am very curious to see what Paul Feig's going to do with his monster movie, which is supposed to be more of a comedy. And I was talking to a friend about this the other day. Like, when he gets to be really Feige, like A Simple Favor or Bridesmaids, They're such special
Can't believe
movies.
you didn't accidentally say Feige and you said Feige.
It'd be more of a problem if I was spelling it. But those movies are just so snappy and fun and interesting and weird and offbeat. And I want to see, like he seems a good fit for some sort of Abbott and Costello type scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's what he's doing, but, that kind of bringing goofiness to the monsters. And I'm into it. But it'd also probably be like really well-dressed monsters.
Would you want Leigh, going back to him, to make another movie with a similar visual style? Because the action in both Upgrade and Invisible Man are quite similar because of the motion rigs that they have.
Yeah, I'm into it. I think he's carving out like his distinct style, and I think that part of the reason why his directorial debut didn't quite work as well as it could have is because he had to play to Wan's style, the established house style of that franchise, and now he's carved out this new look of his own, and I'm super into it. So yeah, I want more.
I would add a whole lot of other problems to the list of reasons why I didn't like Insidious 3, but so it goes sometimes. I
mean, it's not, I don't love it, but I also don't hate it, and it definitely doesn't feel like he got to fully express who he is as a filmmaker with that.
I have not revisited Insidious 3 in I've only seen it once, but I do very vividly remember walking out. I was a huge Insidious fan. Like, that was one of my franchises at that point. I just remember walking out of that third movie just crushed.
I think I'm just never as hard on that franchise as other people. Or
Maybe.
Like, I enjoyed 2 a lot when people were not into that.
2.
I enjoyed the end of 1 when people were not into the tonal shift.
I was very into the end of 1.
I quite enjoyed the last one, The Last Key.
Last Key is great.
Yeah. I think I would say 3 is my least favorite as well, but I don't hate any of them. I like most of them.
Maybe I'll give 3 another go.
Maybe. There's so much to watch.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. There's so much I can't catch up on.
I feel you probably are okay in your opinion on that one.
Yeah, all right. Maybe I'll just hold tight and stick to it.
Do whatever you want.
I mean, because who knows how much we're going to have to watch in the next couple of days for South by Southwest.
Very true.
Yeah, we got a lot of prep work to do.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for some of the movies on that lineup, though.
Yeah.
You know which one I'm most excited for, right?
I do. Bad Trip, right? No. Wasn't that the one you were saying?
I am very excited for Bad Trip because
I know. We talked.
You know. Yeah. I am a prank video junkie.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
I think it's, as long as no one's getting hurt, I think it's the funniest thing in the world. And the fact that they've figured out.
You like TikTok.
I feel like to go down the TikTok path a little further, I feel like I'm not like fully embracing TikTok. I'm finding my lanes.
I think that's the way to approach it.
I guess.
That's how I approach Reddit. Like,
all right.
My Reddit is so curated. It's amazing.
I feel bad I'm not participating in TikTok. But like, what would I do?
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I watch those pet videos where pets are talking and Dewey seems perfect. But like, I don't have the editing skills to do that with Dewey's mouth.
Just use that little app.
Because there's the app that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like so much more work.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. Nobody knows my TikTok handle. Nobody needs to know it.
The only person that knows my TikTok handle is my little cousin.
Nice. I'm just there for the cute doggos, the cool crafts. Show me stuff.
They do have very good explainers. Like, while I was doing my initial search, like, I'm a non-dancer. I will not dance for anything. But some of the explainer videos where they break down the moves to, like, make something happen, I'm like, that's a really good way to teach someone.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed by the content
I like
there.
the platform. I'm into it.
All right, yeah. I'll keep you guys posted as I dig in more with Haleigh's guidance.
Pranks.
Yeah. Do we want to?
Your real one, just so they.
Yeah. I was
hunt,
I was going towards something.
Yeah.
Witch hunt. Yes.
One of the few.
Al Callahan's. And you know what's funny that I didn't even realize when I was trying to prep the witch hunt stuff. So, Witch Hunt is the second feature film from what's that face for? You're making me nervous.
I was Googling South by Southwest 2020.
Oh, no. Did a coronavirus thing come up already?
Well, the number one autofill is canceled. And nothing happened. It's interesting to me that that's what people are searching the most is canceled.
I get it. I mean, like, yeah. I understand.
A lot of things are being canceled.
They're being canceled, and I understand why they're being canceled. But, I mean, it's like with anything in life. When you're looking forward to something and it gets canceled, you're disappointed. So I would be disappointed, but if that's what, the pros out there deem the best course of action, I guess so be it.
So far, they've said they're not going to. But we'll see.
And I know the day of this recording, they're still announcing things, so.
It seems, I don't know, maybe I was going to say it seems like there's just so much money caught up in this thing.
There is.
A lot of the events that are being canceled are more in-house events, like Facebook's big thing. I don't remember what it was called. Or wasn't there a Disney thing that was canceled?
Yeah, I think there was Twitter
but
stuff
this
that was
is like
canceled.
So many studios have put money into this. It just...
And there's studios that have put money into it. There's individuals too. I mean, maybe this is someone's big trip for the year, and they booked hotels months in advance. They're not going to get fully reimbursed.
Sure,
for
that
something.
would suck. I was saying more why I think it won't be canceled.
Oh yeah,
because too much money's on the line. But that would be horrible, of course.
There's so many
less horrible than a epidemic. So
I know.
Who knows?
I don't know.
There's no right answer. We're not scientists. We're just going if it's not canceled.
Certainly true. Most of my coronavirus information comes from Howard Stern. So thanks to him for that.
Hey, how about that?
So the movie that I'm most excited for, though, if we do go, is the movie Witch Hunt, which comes from the director of Headcount, which many of you know I was a big fan of last year, which you could still watch on Netflix right now. But I want to remember the title of this before I say it. But there's actually another Headcount filmmaker with his feature directorial debut. And I am trying to cover that as well. I believe it's the co-writer of Headcount. His name is Michael Nader. And his feature directorial debut is called, oh my God, he's made so many shorts, The Toll. And the Toll is on our list of movies to cover also. So hopefully we see both Headcount filmmakers flourish at South by 2020.
There's not a lot of big genre this year. I think we said that before. But like most of this played other places.
Mm-hmm.
We've already seen Relic. I know people have seen Run, Sweetheart, Run, The Vigil. Lucky? I don't know that one yet, but I'll research.
Yeah.
There's not the big one, right? The big name horror.
I wonder if something hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah,
I keep waiting for some sort of, I don't know if it's a secret screening or a closing night type thing, like some sort of big genre title. Like when does Quiet Place 2 come out? Wouldn't that be the perfect place to start its run?
Right after,
I think it does. I think it's like March 18th or something.
It's like having screenings while we're there.
That'd
be I don't see that happening.
That's true. That's fair.
But yeah, I'm excited either way. I like all kinds of movies. They don't have to be horror.
As do I. I just have my preferences.
I like action just as much.
That you do.
And I can get in on some comedy,
What's your comedy subgenre of choice?
Comedy's crime comedy.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Lovebirds looks right up my alley.
I think. Yeah.
Right up there.
I'm quite excited for Lovebirds. I would say my comedy subgenre, I don't know why we're talking about this. My comedy is,
our podcast.
I know, really. Comedy subgenre of choice would probably be coming of age comedy. Like, give me a good high school comedy, and I'm along for the ride.
I'm not here for it, man. You can have them.
All right.
Yeah, I enjoyed Booksmart, but even things that are objectively really good films, like 8th Grade and Lady Bird, I'm like, I don't care.
Okay.
I'm not at a point in my life where I'm into teenagers and what they have to go through, unless there are witches or something involved in it. Throw an alien in there and I'll be like, oh, that stuff's so dramatic.
Oh, I like
coming
the
of
idea.
Age is such a good use of storytelling.
I feel like the next time we get a coming of age comedy, we should review it together, and then we should have a creative episode where we put a witch filter over it and see how it would change for you. Are you excited for The Craft at least?
Sure. Yeah. The Craft original is one of my all-time favorite movies, like identity-defining films when I was, right at that age where you're deciding who you are. I love that movie. So excited, hesitantly, just
I get it.
Based on I don't know. I feel like the last few remakes we've gotten.
What about Candyman? What'd you think of the trailer?
Oh, I'm into it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it looks good. I like what they did with the hook. It's a cool design.
I like the whole feel of that trailer.
Yeah.
I think it's very well done, and it's creepy.
Yeah.
It really is unsettling.
And the opening scene is a real punch. It makes an immediate statement. It's not trying to be coy about what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Donato about this a little bit last week. Oh, quick side note, and then I'll hop right back. When I had Donato on, I had like no sleep all week, probably 5 hours between like 3 days, and was not very functional. And I got my 2 conversations crossed and accidentally said Chris Evans is playing Seymour, or in talks to play Seymour. He's not. He's in talks to play the dentist, and that's wonderful casting. I had just been previously, like the night before in Pittsburgh, talking to someone about like hunky Seymours on Broadway.
Yeah.
And got those conversations crossed on no sleep.
Happens.
But I just wanted to clarify.
Good to clarify.
Man, I was like, don't forget what you were going to say before you say that. Oh, I got it. There we are. The Saw trailer, you know how we were talking about how much we like whether or not it leans into being Saw. What I realized when I saw it in a theater is there's nothing in it that suggests it's a Saw movie until the very end, except little painted spirals. So I think it's really interesting that they were basically trying to sell you a cop movie with Chris Rock, and then they're like, wow, it's Saw.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know there's a Chris Rock Saw movie coming, you wouldn't know what you're getting there.
I wonder if that's the way to go about it.
Yeah.
I mean, because we remember what happened when they tried to go, haha, surprise, with Blair Witch.
Oh,
it didn't really pan out too well.
I
did like that movie, though.
I'm fine with it,
Yeah.
but it didn't go over well.
No, it didn't.
No, and I just thought it was interesting that Candyman right off the bat is like, I'm going to say Candyman 45 times.
know.
Can you take it?
It's like head count. Like I just walk around saying history over and over and over. And like I was at C2E2 when I was watching the Candyman trailer, and I was just like whispering Candyman to everybody I met, and they all hated me, and it's okay
That's fine.
because we all survived.
You did. You made it out.
If only we could have broadcast the conversation that I had with Matt Donato while I was at C2E2.
I
You all would be
wish.
very amused.
Are there 3-person FaceTimes? I feel that I need.
Is
to
there
be
a way you can
included.
save a
I
FaceTime?
have no. I hope not.
I hope not, but I kind of do. I mean, Donato's recap of that conversation was just as funny probably as seeing the whole thing.
I love the idea of drunkenly FaceTiming. It's not something I would ever do. You know, I'm such like a Luddite old lady.
No, but you need your circle. It's
Yeah.
like I would do it with Matt. I would do it with you too. Like if I was ever walking home alone.
Yeah. Oh, were you walking alone?
I was.
That. That's a good idea. Maybe I should do that.
I left one. So the way the convention center in Chicago works is it's the convention center and it's connected via Skybridge to a whole bunch of hotels there. So it doesn't matter what hotel you stay at, you could stay indoors and walk from place to place. So it's like had drinks at the Marriott and had to get back to the Hyatt or Hilton, H's. See, it's a problem. had to go back to the Hilton, and I had to go back by myself. So Donato FaceTimed with me the whole time.
That makes sense. That's another that's one of the few reasons I understand the use of Find My Friends is situations like that.
Yeah.
I just like with my core friend group, we're old. We'll just talk on the phone for a few hours, you know, get a bottle of wine and lean in. We don't really FaceTime though. I don't think any of us wants to look at our own face.
To be fair, I think that's the first time I ever did that. And if you saw any of the pictures from it, it wasn't really my face. Apparently, I was just like sticking my hand under all the hand sanitizer things and showing him as I did that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
No, I like the idea of it. I've just never done it. Just watch your ass next Saturday. You're gonna get like drunken Haleigh FaceTimes now.
Please do. Actually, we're hopefully gonna be together.
Right. So
we won't even need to. We'll
and
just be
Donato
doing
will
it side
be
by
there.
side.
Who will we call?
Nobody. We'll just be
have
like
fun.
this cluster of lost people navigating the streets of Austin. If anybody finds us, tell someone.
As long as we're not alone.
I've showed you my my very first short from film school, right?
Yes.
Okay. It's like I'm like connecting the dots between my enjoyment of what happened this weekend and that right now. And it's delightful.
Yes.
Should we move on to our review?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
We haven't seen each other in a long time, so this is just us catching up at this point, and I'm into it.
Yeah, this is what happens. This is what happens when you sit us down in this room.
I know.
All right. So we're going to review the movie Swallow right now.
Oh, mood
I
shift.
can't even intro it without like this
so
sick grin on my
excited.
face. I am going to avoid spoiling anything by reading the IMDb synopsis. I feel like that's the safest bet here. So, Hunter, a newly pregnant housewife, finds herself increasingly compelled to consume dangerous objects. As her husband and his family tighten their control over her life, she must confront the dark secret behind her new obsession.
Perfect.
Haleigh, this movie.
I know.
I was losing it last night.
Grandma was asleep by 9 last night, so I woke up to your text message and had a wonderful laugh.
And it's like, I wanted to text you that so early in the movie, and then I kept saying, am I doing this too early? Like, something's going to happen and it's going to ruin this movie, and then I'm going to feel like an idiot for texting you that. But then the tack thing happened, and I'm just like, nope, texting her right now. This is something else.
Quite a watch.
She's so good.
She's fantastic.
Haleigh Bennett is incredible.
She's one of those actresses I always thought should have had a better career than she got. And it's just like one of those ones where it just never seemed to break her way because she's perfect movie star face, right? Like, she's had sort of the right opportunities, but not a role like this that really showed her off. So maybe this will make something happen.
And it's also like it feels like she has a very, I would say like a very good mixture of big budget and independent films on her resume. And some of the independent ones have popped, but never enough to make her a household name. It's like, I thought she was great in Kaboom. I covered Deep Powder at Tribeca one year. She's excellent in that. She's in Hardcore Henry, which, I'm like endlessly fascinated by that movie. But then you also have the bigger titles on her resume, like Girl on a Train, Magnificent Seven. Those are all seemingly great gets that just didn't pan out for her. And it's just unfortunate because she's proven herself time and time again. She is insanely talented and should be in more movies.
I agree. I mean, we just listed like a bunch of movies that she's in, but like she's never the lead, right? She's always like a supporting or even, I don't know, I'm thinking of Music and Lyrics where she's not even supporting. She's like a funny side character. She's doing Anna Faris and Just Friends, goofy. But I like her, and I hope that because this is 100% a leading carry the film on you performance.
I think she's in almost every frame of this.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, I tell you as you listen, my friends, it doesn't sound as intense as it is when it's like compelled to consume unhealthy objects. Yeah, that's like turns out to be some very gnarly body horror in the, it's not even gory, it's just the mental effect of it is so intense.
It's got that like, no effect on you. Like there's this one scene in particular, and this is exactly when I texted you. And I also think it's not even just the idea of someone consuming objects that are, not food, but it's also the way that it's shot. So there's this one scene that is very slowly zooming in on an object that she's going to consume. And as that slow zoom is happening, you're like, no, don't do it.
Don't you dare.
No. But then all of a sudden, at the worst possible moment for a viewer, it cuts to a handheld shot on her going to it, and you just like lose your mind. And that is exactly when I texted you.
You perfectly transitioned because I was like, we talked a lot about Haleigh Bennett, but Carlo Mirabella Davis, who wrote and directed it, just shot the hell out of this thing. And not just, yes, you're right, the use of handheld versus, still frame cameras, but all the use of color, extreme close-ups. It's just slow zooms when you're like, no.
I can't believe this is minus a documentary, it appears, that it's The Swell Season. I know that movie. A feature directorial debut.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, because I think the whole movie exudes confidence.
Yes.
As an actor's director, just visually, everything about this. And I mean, down to the score also, because I love how now I'm looking at the Swell Season. But there's points in the movie where the score so distinctly swells and gets louder. And I think it enhances it, but it also puts you on edge further because there were so many moments where it was building in a certain way, but I didn't quite know what to make of it because it's a very frustrating thing to watch a character do something that's so self-destructive, but also very clearly brings her joy and happiness, and have the movie be able to tap into both things at the same time. It messes with your head.
I'm so glad you liked it. I really wasn't sure. And I'm so happy because I thought it was, it's like one of those movies where the trade-off is that because I think it has a really fulfilling focus on the character arc, it does lose the sort of horror element as it goes on and becomes more of a drama a little bit. But I'm totally okay with that.
It justifies the horror stuff, though.
Yeah.
And I prefer that.
I think it's, the ending, I think, to something like that is so important to a film. I would say this makes an interesting double feature with The Invisible Man in some ways. She's not being, like, objectively abused in that way, but it is about control.
You read my mind.
Yeah, and I think I prefer the way this ending handles a story to your own empowerment more than
I think
Invisible Man.
Both of them are very strong thematically.
Totally.
But Invisible Man spirals out of control as far as logic goes in the end.
So much.
So much, but I still think that the points they're trying to make with that ending are worth at least trying. But here, I think they firmly stick the landing. And it's one of those situations where when you know where it does end up, it's a very interesting thing to know what the truth is behind all of this and to be able to go back and watch the whole thing through again. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm curious to just watch her behavior evolve knowing where it all started.
Yeah, such a performance, man. Mm-hmm. So much to take in.
It's so specific.
Especially in those early frames where you're not sure what you're getting into. And
I can't imagine shooting a movie like this out of sequence. I wonder if they did.
I guess... I bet they probably did just because it seems really indie and you got to get what you can get on the day and it's mostly shot in one space. Mm-hmm. But the emotional journey would be something to track. Big thumbs up for me.
And it's an IFC Midnight title, right?
Correct. They are so regularly coming out with cool
They
little
really
hidden
are.
gems.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up very quickly when and where you can watch Swallow. And of course,
does it come out this weekend? Oh, I was like,
it does.
Emails.
I know. Literally, all the emails that I'm bringing up are invites with no screening information,
well, and of
release
course,
information.
I do not have my email.
Oh wait,
I think
I have one here. I think I have the winner here.
Oh.
Opens in select theaters and digital and VOD on March 6th.
So you can watch it this week.
Please watch it. Please watch it and tweet at us because. Oh, God, I could talk about this movie.
And if you guys are in New York or L.A. and are interested in seeing it, it looks like the theaters that are playing it are the IFC Center in New York and the Lemley Monica Film Center in Santa Monica.
Sweet. Highly recommended.
Yeah, it's a good one. I would say it works just as well at home. It's not one of those ones that, like, God, I wish I saw that on a big screen.
No, yeah.
But it's worth seeing in a theater, too, because it's very immersive and it will have you clutching your stomach and like, no.
I also have to give a little credit to Austin Stoll, who I feel a little bad for, too. Just because I just saw him in Fantasy Island and, I thought he was pretty good for what he had to do in Fantasy Island. And I keep seeing him in things, and I do think he's very good, but he also might be suffering from the... breakout potential, but without getting the right roles in the right films.
Man, I liked him in Colossal. I didn't even realize that was him.
I liked him a lot in Colossal, and also I thought he had a great presence in Battle of the Sexes without being a lead character.
He did.
I thought he was wonderful in that. And
all right, good for him, because for having like I didn't recognize him from those two roles, and not that, they're the biggest roles in the world, but I've probably seen Colossal like 4 times.
I like Colossal
and he
quite a bit.
So unlikable in Swallow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's another one that messes with your head a little though. He does.
Oh,
He's got his moments.
Well,
I'm also really excited to watch his episode of Amazing Stories too.
Nice. Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
Oh man, that's coming up so soon.
I think like I might have a screener of it or something.
I think I have the first one.
Yeah, I think I do too.
We should probably watch that.
You want to watch that and talk about it?
Yeah.
What a good idea. We're planning right on the spot.
I love to make plans in advance.
All right. Do we want to talk about anything else before we move into I Am Not Okay With This? Because then I'll put up the big spoiler warning and...
I don't know. I don't think so.
We'll dive in.
Anything else really catch your eye in the horror news realm this week?
I mean, not really.
It's all been about Invisible Man, pretty much.
That seems to be the thing.
When's the last time you saw the original Invisible Man?
Oh my God, I have not watched it in forever. Because you were watching The Invisible Woman, right?
I was watching all of them.
Yeah.
As many as I could. I didn't make it all the way through I got up to the one after The Invisible Agent, and then I had to leave. But, The Invisible Woman is hilarious because out of nowhere it turns into like a screwball sex comedy, which the franchise never was before. But they're like, it's a woman, make it sexy. all the invisible gags are like her putting on her stockings, and the whole mystery is like, will he be attracted to her when she's not invisible?
Oh, boy.
But that aside,
Yeah.
I'm glad I saw it. I'd never seen it before, and it did have some charming moments, although someone walked in and was like, God, they talk loud, and they really do talk so loud in screwball comedies.
Yeah.
It's just the delivery of the lines is so aggressively volumized. But the original Man still absolutely slaps.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it since high school. I don't think I ever gave it the credit it deserved.
Where'd you watch it?
I just like at home.
Mm.
Now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have a wonderful box set that is all the classic Universal monsters. It's the best.
I wonder if that's something that's available on Shudder. And it's like I can't even do my handy thing of typing in where to watch The Invisible Man because all that's coming up are, theater options for this one. But I feel like Shudder once had a Universal monster movie thing.
Well, I can loan you my box set if you want.
Please do. I wouldn't mind watching it.
But it is so good. I totally never gave it credit my whole life. I don't know. I was a teenager. I probably thought it was boring or something, but it's not boring. It's super creepy. The design of the mask, like the taped face, is so tragic Muppet. It really works. It still works. Everything. I was so impressed by it. I can't believe that my whole life I went around thinking like that's probably my least favorite of the monsters. No, it's awesome.
I could at least rent it on. Oh wait, it might be on Netflix. Is it? I think it might be on Netflix. I don't know. I'm like slowly. Oh no, sadly no. The Invisible Man is not on Netflix. No, The Invisible Man was. It's probably like legit an article like set like. In a sentence saying where it's available to rent.
Yeah,
on,
I would imagine
Amazon
so.
Prime.
That always tends to happen when a new movie comes out. If it was streaming, it comes off streaming because they want to make money.
I was right. This article did say whenever it was published, good news for subscribers of Shudder, a horror streaming service, The Invisible Man. But I just searched on Shudder and I didn't see it there.
Well, it's probably they probably took it off streaming because they want people to pay to rent it now that it's in the conversation.
I guess so.
Happens
a
lot.
Well, I'll pay for it.
It's worth it. I really, I can't recommend that you or anyone listening goes back and revisits if they've kind of discounted it. And if you haven't, then you're smarter than me.
I rewatched a bunch of the original monster movies when The Wolfman came out, which is a while ago at this point. So I'm due for a rewatch.
I need to go into all those DVD sets and watch all of them because they have every single one through every single Universal franchise. And I just go back to the same ones over and over again. Like I've seen Creature from the Black Lagoon 40 million times.
The story of my life.
And I really need to get in there and revisit like this one, the ones I haven't seen since I went through my first phase of watching them in high school.
I forgot what I was just watching or listening, or maybe it was during an interview, but it was someone saying that they don't understand when people want to rewatch movies. Like, what's going to happen. And my brain just melted down. I can't compute that.
I feel like I was just talking to someone who was saying this to me.
I feel like I watched
our memory is so good.
Like I watched something where it happened.
I think a lot of people feel, wasn't it? We're awesome. It was both of us talking to Brendan, I believe.
Was it?
He was
it him that
when
said
he was
that?
young, he didn't
rewatch.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah.
It was him.
Yeah.
I was like having a little moment while he was explaining that.
I know. I love to rewatch, but
so do I.
We're like both of us. We've rewatched two of the same movies our whole lives, so we would feel that way.
Yeah.
Like I think between us, probably we could fund a small nation on Jurassic Park and Scream watches.
No, it's very possible.
And you can take Big Trouble in Little China from my cold dead hands.
Yes.
And Grosse Point Blank.
I just rewatched Stand By Me, and it never gets old.
I need to give that one a rewatch. I genuinely haven't seen it since I was 14.
I'm very, one of my dogs is named after the character in Stand By Me. I'm very attached to that movie, and having been at C2E2 and seeing a whole bunch of Nightmare Before Christmas cosplay, it's like, why not watch that again?
Yeah.
So that's on the list again.
Always. That's always a good one.
It is. All right. Spoiler time?
Right. Oh, do we have to go back to work? Can't we just do this all day?
At least it's a fun one to talk about.
Yeah.
Fun.
No. I mean, can't we just stay in this room
here?
all day? Not like, do we have to talk about this show?
I wish we could just stay in this room
This is
all
the
day.
fact that we're getting to our last topic. I'm like,
to be fair, when we leave here, I'm leaving to go to a screening that I'm kind of curious about, but we'll see.
I'm going to vote.
Oh,
Had
yeah.
that going for me.
Absentee ballot for me.
Smart.
Yes and no. We can go into that discussion
That's
on
true.
another day. All right. I am not okay with this. Season 1 is out on Netflix, and right now we are going deep on the spoilers. So
Spoiler alert.
it is time. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Witching Hour if you are not caught up with season 1 of the show. So right now I am putting up the spoiler alert, and it's not coming down until we sign off. So goodbye to all of you who haven't seen all 7 episodes of the show. Let's do it. I am not okay with this.
What do you think?
I liked it quite a bit.
Yep.
I liked it quite a bit. I think I like it more than most. What did you think?
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'm not here for it. I'm not against it.
Where was it lacking for you?
A lot of the story, I kind of think I texted you this. Or
A little bit, yeah.
A lot of the storytelling felt a little outdated to me. And you kind of put out there that maybe it's set in a different time. I just I don't feel, and what do I know about today's kids? But from what I see of them online, that's not really how they act anymore.
I almost liked the classic feel to
really?
it, though. It felt, it did feel timeless to me. It's even though I could maybe notice that there weren't, there's not cell phones floating around everywhere and the Rubik's Cube and the vinyl and all that, it gives it a dated touch, I guess. But I don't know.
That's something that creator does intentionally. Like he did it with the music and fashion in The End of the Fucking World.
I need to watch that.
Yeah, I'll be curious if you would like. That
Is
one's
it-
a meaner show.
Is it 30-minute episodes?
Yes.
All right, I'll probably will. How many seasons?
Dose. And
All
I
right.
think they're 8 episodes long, maybe 6.
Right.
It's a quick.
After South by, I'll burn through that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do like the timeless element. It's just more like the way they acted. I just felt, I don't know, it didn't connect for me. It felt out of time. Not out of time in a good way, but in a sense of, I feel like maybe we've moved past a lot of the things that were
Well, it's
being
also-
harped upon.
It's playing with a lot of, genre cliches, too. I
Totally.
mean, that one episode in the gymnasium was very clearly a spin on The Breakfast Club.
Right, and that was something I feel like maybe the superpowers and being closeted is a little overdone. Like the X-Men kind of killed that for everyone, but I like it. I'm just not in love with it. And maybe also we talked about this a little bit, but definitely, and I relate to her, but that lead character is rough to be around sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not someone you want to spend your time with a lot, or I do.
I think that's what made the ending so powerful and not
Yeah.
a gotcha moment.
Mm.
It's I think that is such a punch to the gut kind of ending for obvious visual reasons.
Yeah.
But the reason it meant so much is because Sid is such a drag for 7 episodes. And then all of a sudden she has that breakthrough moment where, she feels that that whole boost in confidence. She's going to turn things around and it's going to be great. And then everything just buries her again. It's that, I don't know, it's that feeling that, and it's not even just a kid thing, even when adults, when it rains, it pours. Everything's always going to get you down at the worst possible time and just pile one on top of each other. And that was just such a nice contained moment of it where it felt so explosive to the viewer watching her struggle through it. See what I did there?
Yeah.
You know how many times I said explosive in all of my write-ups? Oh my God. I think I said, so I did an interview with Richard Ellis and Sophia Bryant, who play Dina and Brad, and the headline of it is something like, they talk about the mind-blowing ending of I Am Not Okay With This.
You are on a roll these
Trying.
days. I love it.
Trying to have some fun.
Yes. So I don't think you're wrong. Yeah, that totally makes the ending hit harder. The parallel I would draw is it reminded me of Holden Caulfield when I try to read that book, and I'm just I can't stand you. Please.
Wait, what book?
Shut up. That's where I'm having a dumb moment and can't remember for the life of me the most obvious title of any novel ever. Catcher in the Rye, for God's sake.
You know, I've never read it.
That was like, just talk until it comes. Just talk.
I hate admitting this, but that was a Sparks Note read for me.
Fair enough. I did not enjoy it when I was in high school. I did not enjoy it when I tried to read it again later.
Well,
it has one of those characters that's a teenager that you're just like, I get it. You are a teenager.
All right.
Things are hard for you. In the way that she is kind of like always focused on how hard everything is.
That's why I liked the brother a lot, and I liked Stanley Barber a lot, because they were good balances.
Great.
I think part of the reason why Sid worked for me is because of the ensemble around her, and also because of Sophia Lillis's performance. Mm-hmm. I think there is one of the, that quality to her where no matter what she's doing, you're immediately drawn in and you kind of feel like you're in her shoes.
She's got the thing.
She's got whatever the thing is. It's like this just,
the shine.
I don't know, like this very natural, like, sensitivity to her.
She does. No, I thought they were all great. I particularly loved seeing Wyatt Oleff as Stanley.
Oh, he's so good.
Have we got a chance to really see him play something like that? I mean, I don't know. I'm a little too old to know his whole resume, but
yeah, I don't think so.
I really know him from It and nothing else. I guess young Peter Quill, but that doesn't really count.
I know. I think, but I don't even think there is much on his resume beyond that.
Well, he was great. He totally, he broke my heart in It, especially It Chapter 1, really well, and did exactly what he was supposed to do. But this was such a fun, different Stanley for him to play.
I'm looking forward to seeing more from him. I really do find it funny that he's played two very important Stans now. And I also do think it's a case where the fact that him and Sophia Lillis are friends in real life came through big time. I mean, they just have such a good on-camera chemistry together. It worked so well. It felt so natural. And it's like, even with what Sid's going through, there's something about their friendship that's so kind of like intoxicating and charming. I think when I reviewed it, I called Stanley her safety blanket. And that became a really like warm, comforting thing to me as a viewer.
I did appreciate a lot that, like, when she basically gets to the point where she turns him down, it's like a little beef, but they're still friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's nice. Let's skip that requisite plot point.
It also speaks to the strength of the ensemble here, that you're able to both, like, understand her and feel good for her taking that stand and making that decision, but also feel the heartbreak for him. Mm-hmm. There's like an interesting, thoughtful conflict going on there.
Well, it's that. I feel like it's the oh gosh, why is my brain so bad? Robin and Steve situation where you're like, oh, I wish you would, but that's not reality.
Exactly.
And she's got to live her truth.
Yeah.
And there is, they're just such good friends and such great chemistry that you do feel for both of them totally.
Yeah, I thought that played very well.
I think that making you invest enough to go have that, I wish that could be thought is part of like what it takes to make your heart break for the guy, right? Yeah. Or for whoever's the person who's not going to get what they want in that scenario.
It's also just like an extra reminder that, everybody's truth is different too.
Yeah, exactly.
And, whether you're rooting for one or the other, whatever their truths are has great value, and it's just a reminder of that.
I like the way you just said that, because it's like you're rooting for both of them, but most importantly, they're rooting for each other, and that's what really makes it work.
A very beautiful way to put it. And I think the same. This actually goes into the relationship stuff. I think the same is true for Sid and Dina. Yeah, this is where I think Sophia Bryant excelled, and I think I said this to her when I tried to like formulate a jumbled up question about this, but I found it really interesting that I made certain assumptions about that character the second the kiss happened, and then to watch her so slowly transition and like her thought process change, because I really couldn't believe when we ended up where we did with her.
Yeah, I just you know what? I won't give the show credit for that. That felt modern.
Yeah,
that did.
It felt so like delicate. There's a word that I'm looking for right now.
I don't know, but
that I'm not thinking of.
I like the vibe.
Yeah, so do I.
And you're right, because it is so often leaning into those sort of like 80s teen comedy tropes, like in the gymnasium and things like that. that you definitely have this idea of what like the pretty popular girl is going to act like and who she's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk back a little bit of my this is kind of outdated criticism. The biggest thing about that was like the big bully being all, but gay. And that was like, all right, like
that was, I think, my biggest criticism of season 1, because I do also think that Richard Ellis was very good in that role.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
he did exactly what he needed to do, and the key to that character is how he serves Sid's arc through the entire thing, and they ticked that box quite well with him. But I wanted more of his decision to do that.
It was quite a choice.
Because it makes it a little difficult to read that scene of them on the bleachers where he has that, like, let's just, like, be okay. But then all of a sudden he's not okay, you know?
It is a very sudden
It's like,
leap.
you know, like, deep down you know you're almost sure he's trying to just manipulate her and get what he wants, but there was a moment.
I think you trust people more.
Maybe.
I don't think there's any part of me that didn't think he was trying to manipulate her.
I mean, there wasn't really any part of me that did, but it felt like a very jarring shift. And I guess maybe it is also me just being trusting.
No, I think that's a lovely quality in you, is that you look for the good things in people. Meanwhile, I'm like, dump him.
I guess.
You know?
It just seems like such a big leap to me for someone to like steal someone's diary and blurt something like that out. Like, I want to know what shaped him to be the kind of person that would do that.
It is a leap. It goes from antagonist to straight up 80s bully. Like straight up Stephen King in the 80s on cocaine bully.
Yeah.
Like,
which
it's a leap.
Works well with that last episode that feels totally like Carrie.
Yeah, I did. So, what do you think she really did that, or do you think there's
somebody else
tomfoolery afoot?
I've thought about a lot of things. I think because, remind me, what exactly does he get out? Like, does he say before it happens?
I can't remember what the last straw was, but he does get out, she was kissing my girlfriend.
So, but he never gets into anything specifically that she writes about her powers,
Oh, that's
right?
correct. That's what never...
So what I was thinking is maybe that shadowy figure is someone with similar abilities that want to keep the abilities under wraps, so that person exploded his head before he could read further.
That's my guess. I'm also guessing this has to do with her father's suicide. We don't know if he had like a shot in the head situation, but if he did, that would make a lot of sense. That's my theory. Having never
that's a possibility
read
too.
The source material.
I mean, is there any reason for us to believe that maybe the father's not even dead?
Oh, sure. That's also totally, but maybe he's the shadow figure. Who knows? But I mean, I would think that he probably is, because they've, like, the mom found the body, right?
Yeah, there was something like that.
But yeah, I'm not, just because it's such a leap from, no, actually it's not a leap. I take it back. She blew down all those trees. She definitely has extreme powers when she's freaking out.
When I was talking to Sophia and Wyatt, I asked them to like label her power, because I mean, is it just telekinesis or is it something a little more? But you know, like he put out there that it is, you know, technically whatever you got to do to make something happen in someone's mind, it is kind of telekinetic abilities to move things around for them to expand in that capacity. I love how I'm like analyzing this right now, but I do wonder. I like putting like logical labels on those and like sorting them into files, and so I just want to know.
How exactly do you identify as a superpowered person?
Yeah, well, I asked them that, and the other two gave me wonderful behind-the-scenes details about pulling off that stunt at the end with the head exploding. It's a fascinating process. That's one heck of a scene, and a cool thing to look at in that scene too is what everybody immediately does after his head explodes. And the thing that really got me is how Dina gets closer to him.
I know, she runs right towards him, right?
I found that fascinating. What a choice.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, it's good. The ending probably is both what sold me the most and frustrated me the most, because it's like, for me, it's a rude cliffhanger almost, in the sense that I don't, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I haven't thought it through enough, but I don't feel that moment like completes a story, right? It's just completely designed to make you hooked on what happens next. And that I find a little bit frustrating. But also the stuff in the gym is what kind of totally sold me on the show.
I think I think that 6 episodes feel like a complete story to me, or 6.5 episodes. Like the fact that we get to this point where Sid's feeling more confident in herself, I feel like that was like the beginning chapter of her story.
Yes, but then isn't that all undone by what happens?
Essentially, but
yeah.
I mean, so it goes, I guess, when you're designing a series that is intended to have multiple seasons, even though season 2 hasn't even been greenlit.
Yeah, see, that's what I don't like, because Netflix is known to cancel on cliffhangers.
I know.
That's probably why I was so, like, quote-unquote triggered by that, is because, like, I'm not okay, and I haven't been okay since Santa Clarita Diet or the OA, so just end your shows if you're on Netflix, please.
A very fair criticism, actually, because it would be very unfortunate, especially, you know, I think I enjoyed the show a little more than you did. But for someone who really, really liked this, it would be an upsetting scenario to then rewatch something that you once enjoyed and it to be less valuable because you didn't get a second season.
Right.
Like, I know that's the nature of television, and I can whine about that all I want, but I wouldn't want that to happen here.
But I think there's a way to do it respectfully, wherein you open possibilities for a new season, but if that's the end, then it's a satisfying end.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Do you think this is not going to get a second?
Oh, I think it will. It seems to be successful, but it's never a guarantee unless it's a guarantee.
I know.
So write your show for the audience, right?
And I would hope that they would get this thing going as soon as possible, because as we learned from It to It Chapter 2, these kids are growing.
I think they've hit their spurts already, but...
I don't know. I mean, but still, you still do grow a lot from, like, what is it, like 16 to 18?
You do, but it's not going to be that, like, hilarious difference.
They're not going to have to do VFX on their faces or anything like that. Well, I hope we get another season.
I feel it seems likely, and they also clearly like this Jonathan Entwistle fellow who was such a sensation for them with The End of the Fucking World.
Yeah. That was a fun junket to cover. The YA stuff. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
The End of the Fucking World is a perfect example of a cliffhanger that does not change the fact that the story is complete no matter what happened.
Okay.
While I do like the second season, it was never needed. It's a super mature second season that deals with the fallout from the cliffhanger in a really thoughtful way, in a really, like, the first season is all about, like, young, dumb love, and the second season is like, oh, now I'm an adult.
All right, here's a question for you. Let's say we go to Austin next week.
Yeah.
And I have the opportunity to download something on my iPad. Mm-hmm. Should it be The End of the Fucking World, or should it be The Witcher? Which am I prioritizing here?
Oh, rough stuff.
Because you would not believe how much Witcher cosplay I was, like, face to face with.
I would believe it.
And you probably have more of an appreciation for this than I ever had.
Yeah.
Cosplay is incredible. I mean, just like mind-blowingly incredible. So I've always, like, gone to cons and admired it from afar, or, like, maybe taken a picture with a character I really like. But seeing just, like, the detail that goes into something, and all the time, the money, everything. Because, like, we were at, I think they call it the like the Crown Champions of Cosplay, where the winners from all the global cons come together and compete. I have no words for the artistry that I saw over the weekend. It's incredible, but a lot of those things were from The Witcher.
Oh, I don't doubt it. So here's what I'll say to your initial question. Well, and I super don't doubt it, because The Witcher looks fun as heck to cosplay. Like, if I did that, I'd want to wear those costumes.
Which character would you cosplay as? Because now I know them through cosplay.
Oh, man. I don't know. I just want to wear fancy dresses. Okay. So any of the fancy dresses.
All right.
Anything I would never wear in normal life.
Like, I mean, that's kind of what cosplay's about.
Yeah. And I would never wear, like, a flowing gown. So probably, any of the lead women, because the game made them all wear really fancy shit. I would say download The Witcher if you want to have, like, fun, fantasy, goofy, like, almost Hercules Xena type vibes. Mm-hmm. Like, just, it's a little more serious than that, but it definitely gets real wonky and, like, silly.
Okay.
Whereas The End of the Fucking World is, like, short, tight narrative that's kind of funny, kind of heartbreaking. Really, that it's like taking a shot versus, like, having a fruity drink.
I might veer towards the shot right now.
Well, I was going to say it's not a very long flight, too, so that might be in that's favor.
All right, maybe I'll do the shot then. Yeah, until I get back to Wi-Fi when we can burn through more South by material. Because there's a lot to watch.
There's so much.
So much to watch. So much good stuff, though.
Yes, I'm excited.
Anything else about I'm Not Okay With This before we say goodbye?
I don't think so. I feel like we hit the... I guess I will say we talked about the character, but I also thought that Sophia Bryant as Dina was really just lovely in the role. And also has whatever the thing is. Just like a radiant human that you want to watch.
I also really liked Kathleen Rose Perkins as Sid's mom. I really liked that one scene. Yeah. I liked that one scene they had together. That was another bit that I wish I had a little more of, their relationship and just the rift that was forming between the two of them. But then they have that one scene in the basement towards the end, and I thought that was really powerful. And I like the brother, too, but I'm not going to try to pronounce his name.
He was great.
Aiden. Aiden, you're great.
Oh, that name? No.
Yeah. No, I know. I know. And I feel really bad because someone on my channel gave me the phonetic pronunciation of at least the first half of his name, and I've forgotten it already.
I'll massacre that. I can't even say my own name.
Think there's any chances that Aiden has abilities?
Sure. It's always a possibility. I mean, I guess it depends on what the show wants to become. If it's about really staying focused on her and it's or how many episodes? 8?
7.
7.
Isn't that an interesting number?
Yeah.
I don't know why my brain is automatically processing all Netflix series as like 6, 8, or 13.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
I guess there's some tenors in there.
Some 10s, yeah. And I mean with 7, not 6, half-hour episodes or sub-half-hour episodes, there's only so much you can do to give a character the justice they deserve. Like, I feel like one of the things we kept saying is, like, I wish we had a little more time with that. So, like, I would only want to see him have powers if they had time to investigate what that means for him.
I get that.
And it doesn't seem like there's real estate, but
hopefully they greenlight more seasons. Yeah. Let's go, Netflix. We're waiting. All right.
Yeah, not enough content, Netflix. Come on.
Time to say goodbye, sadly. I got a screening to catch.
Oh, that's right.
But we'll be back next week with a whole nother episode of The Witching Hour. I hope you guys all enjoyed wherever you are. If you're on the podcast network, please, give us those 5 stars.
Rate 5
stuff.
Stars.
Leave some nice comments if you're on the YouTube channel, and tell all of your horror-loving friends about The Witching Hour. Haleigh, where can everyone find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at Haleigh Fouch. You can find me on Letterboxd at Haleigh Fouch, which was a curveball Donato threw in last week. Yeah. And you can find me on Instagram at Haystack McGroovy.
All right. Maybe I'll letterbox.
Yeah,
we'll see. But for now, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at P. Nemiroff. That is it. You've officially survived The Witching Hour.